So, hello, James. Welcome to Just a Little Talk. Nice to meet you. Just give us a chat about My Full House.
Yeah, so My Full House, we rent products to people currently just in the UK. And then at the time they've finished their rental, they can purchase the product for a smaller fee. They can hand the product back to us and then we recycle it. Make sure we've got multiple recycling partners, or they can upgrade. The products are anything household tech, so going from white goods to a washing machine to a television. We look at laptops and games consoles, so quite a variety. Anything that you have in the house, we can offer. We have a set products online. But then again, if someone comes to us and said, recently, last week, we've had someone who wants a really high spec gaming PC. So we've gone away. He said what headset he'd like, the VR headset he'd like that to work with. So we've gone away, sourced it, presented him with a couple of options and set up a payment plan that suits his needs. So yeah, we can do all sorts. Literally
no limit. So you started sourcing stuff now as well?
Yeah, so we've got a few suppliers that we use, and they've got an even wider range than we have, and we select certain products out of that work really well for our price point and our customers' price point. And then obviously we get reviews back on those products. So we like to stick with certain things, but then new products come in. That again is one of the beauties of what we do, is that a lot of these products, after 2, sometimes even a year, there's a new model, there's an upgrade, and it's even more apparent with games consoles. Obviously after 3-4 years there's a complete upgrade, so people are wanting to change. So with us, obviously you can have that product for X amount of time and then upgrade it. Yeah,
nice. And is it, so do you do students only, or students and professionals, or literally anyone?
Yeah, anyone. So I started the business when I was at university. So students were at the forefront. We sort of had the problem with us with in a house where there was sort of 5 of us. We pulled together. We bought a telly. We bought a couple of things, and then at the end of the year, who keeps the telly? What was in with that? Who's gonna pay for that? Are we gonna sell it? Oh, I'm not happy with that price that you've got for the TV. Oh, I'd actually like it here. And then again, more often than not, you're not only changing house, but you're changing housemates. I know you get put with people initially and freshers, and then some of them, happy days, they turn out to be a friend for life. But more often than not, you meet other people through a sport, through your course, and then you go into a house with them. So again, you might change a house 3-4 times. So again, it was to help with that. And then we found that even more so for international students, they're in the UK for a limited time. They're not going to bring a bulky item such as telly with them. They're looking at for while they're here. They often want a nice high spec product. They don't want to worry about it. So again, we have wraparound care. Any problems, we replace it. We can fix it. So there was that market that opened up for us once we started. So yeah, it was rooted in student experiences, but now we rent to pensioners, we rent to businessmen that are only in the UK for 6-12 months. Just want that brand new TV again, don't want to have to worry about it. Everyone, yeah.
Nice. And I think you've touched on it a little bit, but what happens? Obviously, my main concern is, for instance, people that are probably going to watch this are mainly going to be students. So what happens if something, say, gets damaged or broken, or even if it's not the student's fault? So what happens? They just basically ring you up and say, "Oh, James, my TV's gone bust. What can I do?"
Yeah, I mean, most of the stuff we can replace. It's just if someone does tip a beer over a telly, and it's obvious that they've done that, then it is they are liable for it. But again, we come to some conclusion. If they're willing to work with us on it, we'll work. It might be that that TV doesn't work. They paid X amount of months for it. We bring them in a brand new telly, and then we just add on the small amount of payment that they owed on that previous TV at the end of the contract. But there's always something that we can work out as long as they're willing to work with us.
That's pretty sound, to be honest. I don't think many companies would be like that. I think you'd be right. You've got to pay off your sort of old TV before you get a new TV, sort of thing. I imagine that's probably the way it works. And
yeah,
the one thing I was going to ask is, are there any other companies like you that do this, or is it? Because I don't know anyone personally. I don't know anyone else that does this, so I feel like you're pretty unique. But obviously you're in that sort of area. I don't know if anyone else sort of does this. You don't have to name them, obviously.
Yeah, no, there's companies that rent. I mean, renting products and items has always been a thing. It was a lot more popular. There was radio rentals before my time. My parents used them, and obviously tech was a lot more expensive as well. So a lot more people wanted to rent it or split payments up that way. And then there's peer-to-peer lending. There's a very interesting one that does that in London. So that there's ones that are very similar and have aspects of what we do, but not everything that we do.
Okay.
And how I was going to say, and then how we, I mean, part of the reason we're talking now is that we work and want to work with a lot more businesses as well. So ones that relate to students, ones that have people renting property, and I haven't seen that before. That's a real USP of ours.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, and obviously, even though most people are going to be watching this as students, I imagine, I think it is a real unique sort of side and twist on it, because I've never seen it. I mean, if I could have rented a TV at university, would I? Yeah, I probably would have, to be honest. Because, as you say, we had one TV in a house of 5, and then everyone either had one in their bedroom or not had one in the bedroom. Everyone had their own consoles, but obviously if you wanted to play in the living room, it meant there was 5 consoles in the living room. You didn't know whose to use. Multiple stuff, so you could just chip in. And with the payment side, can you split the payment? So if there's a group of 5, what happens with the payment?
Yeah, exactly. So you can divide the payment between the house. Okay. So you might end up paying £12 a month for a brand new sort of 50-inch telly. But yeah, again, there's a section on the website that you can fill out a form, let us know what you're interested in, how many people are in your house, and then we come back to you with a bespoke quote.
Okay. And is there like a delivery? Because I imagine, let's say, if I order a 50-inch TV, I don't know, an Xbox, controllers, that PC game that guy wants, is there a delivery charge out of interest?
I mean, it's a lot of tech. It's delivery isn't free, but we do cover it. So yeah, it's free to the customer.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because that's what I was thinking. Because I obviously, if you start delivering big and bulky items, I imagine that delivery can start adding up. But if you're doing it free to the customers, I think that's quite a good little deal.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was one of when we set up the business, that was a big issue that we had to overcome, was that the consoles and the Nintendo Switches and things like that are easy to ship around the UK, but a television, especially 55-inch, obviously brand new, very delicate screens. So that was something that I was conscious about, and we ended up paying an awful lot of money to get a TV shipped around. But now we've got established partners, and we're doing good enough volumes to make it work for us. So we would rather absorb that cost ourselves rather than hand it on to the customer.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's very kind of you, very, very generous. And so just looking at students specifically, often, I'm not asking you to know obviously exactly, but what sort of is the best product you find for students? What do they order most of? It's
the television is by far for most people, yeah, and then they may add on again a console, but I find again it's when we catch them in their cycle. So if they're already at uni and they haven't heard of us, then they might have bought certain things with them, like a console. Yeah. You're not going to bring a telly with you 9 times out, or a larger telly for share around. So again, if they hear about us before, and then again they know that second year I'm moving in with Tom, Dick, Harry, John. Let's get my full house. We can order the TV. We can split it in. It will arrive the day after we get there, whenever you want it. So yeah, that works well. And then they might add obviously certain items, but yeah, like most of the time the telly for the students is the one.
Oh, nice. Okay, and then do you know what a rough cost of that is? So say let's go relatively big here. Let's go like 55-inch. Do you know what sort of a rough cost is? Let's say 5 people as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, well, it's £48 a month.
Mate, that's no any numbers there.
Yeah,
48
so
a month.
£48 a month, and obviously you can divide that between however many people you got in the house.
Okay.
But equally, you can get that. That's over a 12-month, but
Yeah.
you can extend the contract to 6, 12, or 18 months.
Okay. And so a bit of a weird question, but I'm just thinking like, what happens? So say if I take something out by myself, say a TV, I'm a student at the minute. Could I then carry that on if I wasn't a student? Obviously, but then.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. Again, you have to agree if you rented it and you're dividing it between the house, agree with your housemates. But if it's you on your own, again, at the end of the contract, you can pay a small fee, keep the TV, you can upgrade it. You can do what you want. You can stay with us especially once you've been renting with us for a year, and we're very happy with you. You've kept up with payments. You can do all sorts then. And again, going back to sort of the start, you can only initially order one product. So after 3 months of payment and successful payments, you can add another one in then.
Right. Okay. That's pretty cool.
That is a little bit just a little thing that we have to do, just because obviously you could end up offering for sort of 5 products out, and it's an awful lot of money. So we sort of stagger it once we started working together.
Okay, yeah, it's a little bit of protection. I mean, you've got to protect yourself. I mean, you don't want to be handing out 55-inch TVs and then not getting anything back for it.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So just one bit I want to touch on is sort of the sustainability, the green side. It's a big sort of thing at the moment. So what happens at the end of life, end of cycle with these TVs? Say I've stopped renting and bits like that. But what generally, like, how do you dispose of them? What happens? And if you just talk to me about that, because I think that would be a big point on many people's minds.
Yeah. So if the product can be saved, which 9 out of 10 it can, like I say, sometimes there's a beer spilt on it, but if it could be saved, we work with partners who refurbish the items, and then they can either provide them. We look to low-income families, or it may be that we can offer that out to someone else that would like to rent a product, but they're happy to have it secondhand, so they might be able to reduce the fee. And again, we also offer the service that if we're going in to deliver a brand new product, then we're happy to take away with us something that you might want to recycle. So whether that's a kettle, an iron, we're happy to take that away with us. And then you can add that on when you go through the checkout process on our website.
Okay.
You can add that on.
And that's pretty cool. So I imagine that ideally helps like international students, doesn't it, really? So obviously if they've got, say they've bought a kettle, toaster, microwave, whatever, and they don't know how to dispose of it, because I think that does happen a lot. You see a lot of electrical equipment left behind. So you can obviously recycle and dispose of that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a nice little addition. It's a big headache. That they might not necessarily know some of the laws, regulations, where to dispose of that. And the reason why we started to do it was we were speaking to letting agencies, more student accommodation providers, and they said it was a big problem. And that they were going around, and they'd have skips, and there'd be TVs in there, and they weren't allowed to go in and take them out themselves, if they were renting the property to them. So that was something that we came up with, and it's worked well, and it's aged well. I mean, people are even more conscious about that now than they ever have been. We hope to be able to do more and more. Again, with packaging, when we deliver a product, we can take that packaging away. You're welcome to obviously keep it, but we can take that away, and then we can often recycle that as well. Well, we do recycle that, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you're on a whole, quite a sustainable company, really, because one, you're saying students don't have to buy obviously the equipment, especially if you can save sort of 5 TVs, whatever it might be, and then obviously you take it back at the end of life. And if you can reuse it, you'll reuse it, and if you don't, or if you can't, then you'll dispose of it correctly. That's
Exactly.
that's pretty cool. I like that. I've got a lot of time for that. And I suppose just I'm more about running out of questions, but one thing I am interested in is your delivery. How quick does it all take? So obviously, if I go onto the website today, how quick could I say get something that's relatively in stock, like a TV or something like that?
Yes, it can be next day. We like to be able to deliver within 3 days. But again, if we've got it here ready to go, like for example, yesterday we had a couple of Nintendo Switches. They were here in stock, Royal Mail, first class. He's got it today. There's again, it's when the customer's home. Luckily, well, I say pros and cons of the last year or two, but a lot more people are at home now, especially students. Again, they're more often they're not around, or there's one of them in the house. We have found that there were times where, especially if you're over here, you're working, you're a 9 to 5, you're getting a train, you're in the centre of London. There's certain windows, so you have to like sort of work with the customer to do that. But the last year, everyone's at home, so yeah, really quick. The only thing that would potentially delay things to say maybe towards the end 5 days would be if they want the product installed, and then we've got a specific team that go in and do that. Not all the delivery drivers will be able to install, say, a 50-inch onto the wall, so we may have to wait for one of them. But yeah, I'd say 3 to 5 days max.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, to be honest. I mean, that's plenty. I mean, if you were to log on to the more retail websites anyway, I generally don't think you'd always get a next day delivery slot. I think 3 to 5 days is pretty good, to be honest. And just one last quick question that's come into my mind is: do you credit check people, or like, you know, do you run like a finance check on people? So I'm probably more towards students here.
Yeah, so we, as a rule of thumb, we don't. We will continue to do that as we grow as a business. We find that with students, it would be more credit checking their parents and the background there, and we have found just more through experience. Obviously, win some and lose some, but it's fine where we stand. There's a lot more obviously red tape with doing that, and I think as we get larger as a company, we'll end up doing it more, but at the moment we don't.
That's pretty sad, because I was thinking, you know, if you start finance checking people, if they haven't got good credit checks, then credit checks is the word I'm thinking of. Obviously, if you don't have good credit score, then it puts a damper on it. You can't get your TV, and especially as a student, you don't necessarily always have a credit score.
Yeah, exactly. You either don't have one, or like I said, you have to test that. You have to get parents' permission and things. So for the student market, yeah, we don't. Whether you share that with them, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's good, because stuff like that, it's very niche, especially when you talk about accommodation. You need a guarantor. That's because the sums are a little bit high. You're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand a year. So they want a guarantor, because if not, 10 times that over, say 5 rooms, it's 50 grand. And if you're talking about a guarantor, they have to be liable. But not every student has a credit score, which I didn't when I was a student. I didn't have a credit card. I couldn't even get. I remember trying to get a phone contract. Couldn't get a phone contract. Didn't have a credit score, so they wouldn't allow me.
Yeah, and again, if I'm being perfectly honest, we've found that students are much better at paying than certain older customers that we have. So we have more problems with a different sort of demographic, say, than students. They're just on their way up the ladder, aren't they? So we try and sort of help them out, give them the benefit of doubt.
That's sound. I think it's good what you're doing. So just to sort of cap and round off then, where's the best people? Where's the best place for, students mainly, but anyone to sort of find you, see what you do, so like website, social media, and bits like that?
Yeah, so you can find us on your website on StudentIt, the partners section. You can find us on www.myfullhouse.co.uk. That's our website. And then we've got multiple sort of Facebook and Instagram. Again, it's My Full House or My Full House UK.
Sam, I think that's it. I'm out of questions. Well, thank you, James. And I don't know if we'll do another one, but if we do, we'll keep it updated.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you very much.